Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, April the 15th. We got a short Thursday slate, just 4 games today, but as always, we're going to go team by team, go through each game and talk about each team on this 4-game slate, give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me, looking at the slate on Wednesday night. So before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well, and click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. I wasn't able to live stream on Wednesday, but I should be back for a Thursday slate, Thursday afternoon. Probably going to be live around 4:30 Eastern time. We do have a little bit of a later lock today. Locks at 7:30 Eastern, so around 4:35 Eastern, I should be live on my YouTube channel Thursday afternoon. If you guys do want to tune into the live stream, as always, I'll answer all your guys' questions. We'll talk through the slate once again. If any news comes out throughout the day that we need to hit on, we can always touch on that in the live stream. Give you guys my updated thoughts on the slate, but yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at the Milwaukee and Atlanta game. We'll start off with this one first. So, looking at the Bucks side today, we have no idea right now if Giannis is going to play or not. It feels like almost every slate at this point, like every day, there's big guys questionable, like every day. I mean, Wednesday slate, there were so many guys questionable for Wednesday. Even guys that we thought were going to play got ruled out, like Paul George, Kawhi. So right now, we have no idea if Giannis is going to be in or out. The Bucks did play on Wednesday. He did not play in Wednesday's game. My best guess is that Giannis plays today. Right here, it says that he was a full participant in practice on Tuesday. So they probably just sat him out Wednesday so that he could play in this game. So I'm going into this slate assuming that Giannis does play. And if he does play, I think really the only guys I'm going to be looking to on this Milwaukee team probably just going to be Giannis himself. Like I don't really want to go to Holiday or Middleton. Even on a short slate like this, I don't think those are going to be guys I really consider, with their prices up. Obviously, they've been priced up for when Giannis was out. So I don't want to pay $8,400 for Middleton or $8,400 for Drew, $8,300 for Middleton if Giannis is playing. Obviously, Bobby Portis is completely out of play if Giannis is in. So yeah, if Giannis plays, he's really the only guy I'm looking to on Milwaukee. I think, on a short slate like this, only 4 games, Giannis would clearly be one of the top stud options if he is able to go today. But we can go ahead and move on to the Atlanta side. Now, obviously, if Giannis does wind up sitting out again, Drew, Middleton, Portis, their prices have gotten way up there. I mean, they're not cheap anymore, but I think Drew and Middleton would still be really good options. Portis, at his price tag, I'm not as high on, but I would still have a lot of interest in Drew and Middleton if Giannis is out. But I think Giannis is most likely going to play today. But moving on to the Atlanta side, so looking at Atlanta, another team that's dealing with injuries right now. We got some key guys questionable. Trae Young is questionable for this game. Danilo Gallinari, he is also questionable, I believe. So both those guys are questionable. Obviously, Trae Young is really the big one. With Trae Young out last game and the game before that, we've seen Brandon Goodwin really benefit with Trae out. Played big minutes. He's played 37 minutes in 2 straight games. He started both those games. Been relatively productive as well with 35 and 32 DK points. His price came up a good amount to $4,500, but Brandon Goodwin would still be a really good value play today if Trae winds up out. If Trae sits, that also gives a boost to a guy like Bogdan, who had a really good game last game. It gives a boost to guys like Kevin Huerter and Lou Williams. Lou Will, he's not been as productive as I would like, but he'd still be viable in tournaments if Trae sits. Obviously I feel better about Brandon Goodwin just because it seems pretty clear right now that they want to give big minutes to Brandon Goodwin if Trae is not out there. Like, they haven't been given huge minutes to Lou Will off the bench. Lou Will would just be a tournament play. He'd still be viable, though. Same with Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter has actually been playing decently well lately without Trae. He does get a little boost if Trae sits. I feel better about Goodwin, though, and especially because he's cheaper. He'd be the clear guy to go to, I think, if Trae winds up out. Bogdan as well, even at $7,200, I'd have a good amount of interest in. But if Trae does wind up playing, which I think is probably going to be the case, they said that Trae was expected to play Tuesday when they last played, and he didn't. So given that he was expected to play Tuesday, makes me probably assume that he's going to play here. Maybe something happened and he wasn't able to go, but I assume Trae's going to be in here. So, assuming Trae plays, I don't see a ton from this Atlanta team outside of Trae himself. At 9,100 on a short 4-game slate, Trae would definitely be up there in terms of top stud options. If you look at the slate as a whole, you got Giannis, assuming he plays. You got Steph. You got De'Aaron Fox. Tatum, Trae himself. But really, there's not a ton of studs above 9K. We really only have assuming Giannis and Trey both play, we only have 5 options above 9K because obviously LeBron, AD are both out. So I would definitely put Trey up there with Giannis in terms of favorite pay-up options for me if he's in. If he's in, he's the only guy I'm probably going to on Atlanta. But if he's out, that definitely gives a boost to Bogdan, Herter, Williams, and Goodwin. Bogdan and Goodwin, though, would be my 2 favorite plays from Atlanta if Trey sits. And Clint Capella, he had a really good game last game, had 49 DK points in 35 minutes. He's been playing really well. He does benefit without John Collins. I don't know if Trae Young being out really impacts Capella that much, just because Capella's not really a guy that creates his own shot. Like, I want to say that Trae being in there probably helps Capella, because Trae can drive to the basket, get those alley-oops to Capella. But, yeah, I guess you could go to Capella here, but at his price tag, he doesn't really stand out as a top option anymore. He was a really good play when he was like 7,500. Now that he's 8,900, more of a secondary option for me, not really someone I'm like building around on this slate. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Golden State and Cleveland. So on Golden State, this is a back-to-back for the Warriors, so just keep an eye on that. The Warriors, normally they're a team that plays most of their starters, but we've seen at times this season they have rested some guys. But it is worth noting that in Wednesday's game against the Thunder, they blew out the Thunder. None of the starters played in the third quarter. That game's finishing up as I'm recording this video, so I would assume that everyone's going to be good to go here. Only guy that remains out is Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre was doubtful for Wednesday. I'm pretty sure already been ruled out for today, or he's doubtful again. So I'm not expecting Oubre to play. We know Wiseman's going to remain out. Looking at this Golden State team as a whole, I think my favorite guy from Golden State is definitely Draymond Green. He was my favorite guy in Wednesday's slate. Now, sadly, I didn't wind up playing Draymond. He had a huge game Wednesday against OKC, had a massive triple-double. I don't know if the game lock has updated yet. I don't know if that game's finished yet. The game hasn't updated yet, but Draymond, I'm pretty sure, finished with like almost 60 fantasy points Wednesday night against OKC. Had a triple-double, had a ton of defensive stats as well. Like, we know Draymond has that kind of upside in him. He's a guy that can go out there and just stuff the stat sheet. He gives you triple-double upside. The only thing I worry about is that, in a game like this against Cleveland, against a pretty bad team, this game has a little bit of blowout potential, I would say, but Cleveland at least is getting healthy again. They have Larry Nance back. They have Jared Allen back. Kevin Love's, playing close to normal minutes. If this game can stay close and we do get 36, 38 minutes from Draymond, he can easily give you 40-plus DK points. He has that upside to do that. He's not going to really score a ton, but he can just do so much when it comes to every category. Can get you points, can get you rebounds, can get you assists. We know he can get those defensive stats. Draymond's someone, I usually always am fine rostering, and on this slate, with not a ton of options, only 4 games, I think Draymond stands out as probably one of the better power forward plays. 7,100 on DK, I like him quite a bit there. And on Yahoo at $31, I think he looks like a pretty solid option on Yahoo as well. Worth noting that, we'll talk about Cleveland's side. They're on a back-to-back as well. Kevin Love's someone I'm going to be interested in if he plays today, but it is a back-to-back, so worth noting there. But, yeah, I think that probably does it for Golden State. Like, Curry on this slate for me, I don't think I'm going to go to. Like, if Giannis plays, I prefer Giannis over Curry. I think I prefer guys like De'Aaron Fox and Trae Young for cheaper. Wiggins, I'm not a big fan of at his price tag. Jordan Poole, I think Jordan Poole benefits without Oubre. I think he's going to get, more usage off the bench. He's going to get a few more minutes. But at 5K, he's appropriately priced. Not really a guy that stands out at his price point. Now, Kent Bazemore, I think, is fine to go to. He continues to start in place of Kelly Oubre, and he should start again here. Probably get around 32, 34 minutes if this game does stay close. He's still very cheap on Yahoo, so if you do need a cheap small forward, usually small forward's always a position that's not the best. Like, normally you can always find a decent pay down option at small forward. I think if I am paying down at the small forward position, Kent Bazemore definitely going to be the guy that I look to. Like I said, probably going to start again, play 30 to 32 minutes. He's super cheap, especially on Yahoo at $13. I'm fine with him as a value play. On DK, though, at close to 5K, he's not as good of an option there. Really, I think Draymond's the guy that stands out the most, though, from this Warriors team. At least for me. But moving on to the Cleveland side, this is also a back-to-back for the Cavs, so this is going to be something to monitor. Kevin Love's been coming back. He's came back from an injury. He did play on their last back-to-back, but we'll have to see if he plays here. Jared Allen, though, is back. Larry Nance is back. Colin Sexton, him and Darius Garland were both questionable Wednesday. Colin Sexton wound up not playing. Darius Garland did play. We don't exactly know who's going to be in or out for this game. Sexton, we have no idea if he's going to play here. Right now, assuming that everyone is in, I think the only guy that I'm probably going to be looking to on Cleveland is probably Kevin Love, 6,200 on DK. His minutes, they said he was on a minutes limit for Wednesday's game. I can't remember how many minutes he wound up playing. He wound up playing 26 minutes or 27 minutes. He was pretty productive in that time, had a double-double, had 36 fantasy points. It is a back-to-back, so I do worry a bit, with Kevin Love on a back-to-back, obviously, because he's not really someone they're going to push much at all. I mean, they're going to rest Kevin Love a lot, the rest of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Love winds up resting here, but if he does play and we get around 30 minutes from Kevin Love, which I assume is what he gets if he does play here, he's someone I'm definitely looking to. I think $21 on Yahoo. He looks like probably one of my next favorite power forward options behind Draymond, and at $6,200 on DK, he has the upside to pay off that price point in, 30 minutes if that's what he plays today. If he does play, just keep an eye on that because it is a back-to-back. But I actually do have some interest in Kevin Love if he's in. He's probably my favorite play from Cleveland. If Colin Sexton remains out, though, I do have some interest in Darius Garland. Now, he's kind of priced appropriately. He doesn't really stand out as a top play at his price tag, but he does benefit if Colin Sexton gets ruled out. He did have a decent game Wednesday with Sexton out, played 36 minutes, has 36 DK points. Wouldn't mind him either at 6,600, but that probably does it for this Cleveland team. Overall, I don't see a ton that stands out from the Cavs outside of Love if he plays and Garland if Sexton gets ruled out. So, yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Boston and LA. So looking at the Celtics here, there really isn't much that stands out from the Celtics for me. Jason Tatum at 9,400 on this slate, I don't think I'm going to get to Tatum. I think I'd prefer guys like Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, who we're going to talk about. Giannis, I like if he plays. I know Tatum's been good this year. He has that upside in him. He's a guy that can put up 50, 55 DK points any night. But on this slate, I don't think Tatum's going to be really someone I build around. There's other guys I prefer over him, and same could be said for Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker. Overall, I don't like a ton from this Boston side, and this game as a whole, I don't have that much interest in. I would say this is probably my least appealing game or least favorite game on the slate. When these Boston guys are fully healthy, it's just tough to predict which one's going to have the good game on a nightly basis. Lately, I've been playing Jaylen Brown the most, especially on Yahoo, just because the small forward position is just so bad on Yahoo almost every night. And Brown he's been small forward eligible there for a while now. So I've been playing Brown more on Yahoo recently. I could see maybe playing him, but we have some small forwards that I actually do have some interest in today, like a Kent Bazemore if you're trying to pay down. I just don't see much from Boston. Kemba at 6,800. Sure, he could put up 40-ish DK points, but even if he does, he's not going to be someone you really have to have at his price tag. Marcus Smart, I really never play Marcus Smart whenever this team is fully healthy. He's only a guy that I really get to whenever Kemba or Brown or one of the guys are out. So overall, I don't like much from this Boston team. They're probably my least favorite team on the slate, honestly. Now on the Lakers side, there's a little bit more that I think is, viable here. We obviously know LeBron and AD are going to remain out. Markieff Morris is currently questionable, I believe. He did not play in their last game. If he were to get ruled out, I don't think that would really impact too much. Talen Horton-Tucker started in place of Markieff last game, but he wasn't very productive. Only played 23 minutes, only had 15 DK points. Even if he starts again, I doubt I'd go to him. I think the guys I'm really going to be looking to from the Lakers are, really the main three guys, Andre Drummond, Kyle Kuzma, and Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is definitely my favorite when you look at his price point, $6,300 on DK. I do like this price quite a bit for Schroeder. We know we're getting, big minutes from him. He's played at least 36 minutes in 3 of their last 4 games that have been competitive. Obviously, the Brooklyn game, he got ejected in, plus that was a blowout. But against Miami, 40 minutes. Against the Knicks, 37 minutes. Against Charlotte, 36 minutes. We're going to get mid to high 30s minutes from Dennis Schroeder. He should be relatively productive without LeBron, without AD. He's been around a fantasy point per minute player lately. I do like him at 6,300. I like that the price came down a little bit. He's someone I'm definitely going to be looking to, and I think he is my favorite play from this Lakers team. Do like that price on DK, and on Yahoo, his price also went down there. He's been $27 for a week or two, but his price came down to $23, so nice little discount on Dennis Schroeder today. He's definitely my favorite play from this Lakers team. Andre Drummond, I don't mind at 6,900, so he had 2 pretty good games against Miami and against Brooklyn, and then, back-to-back against the Knicks and against Charlotte. Drummond's just been terrible. 17 DK points in 25 minutes against the Knicks, 25 DK points in only 24 minutes against Charlotte. He's not getting the minutes that I would like. I want Drummond to be playing. If I'm going to roster Drummond, I want him to be getting around 30 minutes, and he's just not getting that right now, which I think is a bit worrisome. Drummond still has a ton of upside. If he does get 30 minutes, he could very easily go for 45 DK points, and I would not be surprised. So I think in tournaments, especially with how bad he's been lately, I don't see people going to Drummond. I expect him to be relatively low owned on this slate. So I do have interest in him in tournaments. He burned me the other day in that game against Charlotte, or against the Knicks. I played him that day, but I have interest in him. There's some other centers I'm more confident in. We're going to talk about DeAndre Ayton, who I'm just more confident in. But Drummond in tournaments should be lower owned than a lot of these other guys that we've mentioned. So I have some interest in him there as well. Kyle Kuzma, probably my third favorite Laker behind these two. At 6,500, he kind of feels appropriately priced. Like I said earlier, I think Schroeder feels a little bit too cheap, whereas Kuzma feels about appropriately priced. He doesn't really stand out as a top option for me, but at least viable. For me, though, on this Lakers team, it's definitely Dennis Schroeder, my favorite play, number one. Then Drummond, I do have some interest in tournaments for low ownership, and Kuzma, I'm fine with as well. But outside of those three, I'm not considering any other Lakers, I don't think. No one else on this team really stands out. So we can go in and talk about the last game on the night, Sacramento and Phoenix. And I would say that this is probably my favorite game overall. There's a good amount I do like on both sides here. So on Sacramento, they are a team that's currently dealing with some injuries right now. We do know that Rashawn Holmes, who is doubtful for Wednesday, he's already been ruled out for this game. I believe he's going to be out for their next 3 games. So with Rashawn Holmes out Wednesday, we did see Damian Jones draw the start at center. Now, as of when I'm recording this video, at 11:30 Eastern time on Wednesday night. I'm going to check the box score real quick just to see how Damian Jones is doing, because this is pretty interesting to me. So Damian Jones, there is 9 minutes left in the third quarter, so just shortly after halftime. Damian Jones has only played 10 minutes. He does have 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block. So he's got around 12, 13 DK points with about 9 minutes left in the third quarter. So he's at least on pace to hit value. Damian Jones did start Wednesday. If he starts again, he's minimum salary on Draftkings. This is someone that I think we can look to for value, especially if no value opens up as the day goes on. Now, if Trae Young gets ruled out, that'll give us some value from Atlanta. If Giannis gets ruled out, we'll have some viable options from Milwaukee that we can go to. But right now, I don't see a ton of cheap options that stand out. So at minimum salary, $3K, if Damian Jones winds up starting again, I think he is a value play that we can definitely look to on the slate. I do want to mention Hassan Whiteside, though, because Whiteside, he has actually gotten some decent minutes off the bench. With 9 minutes left in the third quarter, Whiteside's played 10 minutes. So as of the time I'm recording this video, both Whiteside and Jones have played 10 minutes. Chimesi Meto, however you say his name, he's only played 5 minutes. So I think it's pretty clear that Whiteside and Jones are going to be the two guys that get most of the center minutes. Whiteside's been really productive, as you expect. 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks in 10 minutes for Hassan Whiteside on Wednesday. So I think Jones, because he's the starter, is likely to play, more minutes than Whiteside. But Whiteside is such a good point per minute player that he doesn't, at 3,400, he only needs 16 minutes to pay off this price. Whiteside, right now, hell, he's got, what is the guy? He's got, just doing the math in my head, he has 20 DraftKings points Wednesday night and only 10 minutes played. So this is someone that can legit go for 30 DK points in 15 minutes. At 3,400, I like him a lot as well. I don't think I'd be playing him and Damian Jones together or anything like that. But Whiteside, I think, is a high upside option. If he even gets 18, 20 minutes, he can easily pay off this price point. And normally I don't like to roster guys that are only going to play 18, 20 minutes. But Whiteside is just a totally different guy. He's Boban in the sense that he just doesn't need a ton of minutes to pay off his price, because he's such a productive point per minute player. He's a guy that'll score, he'll rebound, he'll block shots. I do like these Sacramento bigs. I think Jones is probably Jones, I would say his minutes are safer just because he's the starter, but Whiteside's just such a more productive player that Whiteside's honestly probably the better option now. I played Damian Jones on Wednesday's slate is like a last guy in. There was a lot of center value on Wednesday. Jones was honestly the guy that I liked the most, though, just because I expected him to be the lowest owned, and he was 3% owned on Wednesday. If he does wind up having a good game Wednesday night, he'll probably be a lot higher owned today. But I think the Sacramento front court, whether it's Whiteside, Damian Jones, or even both, I don't think you want to play both, but one of the two, Whiteside, Damian Jones, I think we're gonna want to have one of those two guys in our lineups. Whiteside, I think, gives you more upside. Jones might be the safer option because he's starting, but regardless, I think they're both really good values today. I think both project pretty well points per dollar wise. Jones, obviously, because he'll play more minutes. Whiteside, just because he's a way more productive player. My rough guess is we probably get 25 minutes from Damian Jones, and he probably projects for 20 DK points, and then Whiteside probably projects to play 20 minutes and 25 DK points. Go with who you prefer. I think Whiteside gives you more upside though, so I do like him quite a bit. I think at 3,400, he does look like a really good value play today. I know I went on a little bit of a rant there, but I do want to discuss these Sacramento bigs because I think they are very important for this slate. We'll have to see, we'll have to see how it finishes up on Wednesday's slate. I think if Damian Jones winds up having a really good game, I think he'll wind up being a little bit more popular. If Whiteside gets more minutes than I expect, if he finishes with like 22 or 24 minutes played Wednesday, it's very likely that he's going to smash. So, yeah. I think you can look to both these guys. Whiteside, though, just gives you the more upside, so he's the one I think I prefer. But De'Aaron Fox, 9,700. Again, I think he's a really good pay-up option. I had a lot of interest in him on Wednesday. Obviously, that was a much better matchup against Washington. This is not as good of a spot against Phoenix. But still, we know we're getting big minutes from De'Aaron Fox. We know he's going to get a ton of usage. I still have a lot of interest in him. I'm not scared to pay this price tag for him. Fox has been so good on a point-per-minute basis this year that even at 9,700, he has the upside to pay off this price point. Now, I don't think he projects like a top stud today. I still would probably rather get to like Giannis and probably Trae Young as well, but Fox I think is a really good play. Halliburton, I'm not as high on. Harrison Barnes I think is fine. Buddy Hield's probably my next favorite guy from Sacramento, behind Fox and behind Whiteside and probably behind Damian Jones as well. Buddy Hield was questionable for Wednesday, but he did wind up playing. And as of the time I'm recording this video, he is having a pretty good game Wednesday. He's played 21 minutes, has 19 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 steal. So he's having a really good game Wednesday. Hopefully he can keep that up for Thursday's slate. I do have some interest in Buddy Hield today at 6,100 on the Sacramento team. So there's a lot I do like from Sacramento. Mo Harkless as well, I had some interest in Wednesday. Now, once we got a lot of value opening up as the day went on, like a lot of the Clippers guys became viable once PG and Kawhi got ruled out. I didn't have as much interest then in Harkless, but if he's going to start again, I'm not sure how many minutes he's played, but if he's going to start again at 4K, he's someone you could look to for value. But I would say that my favorite plays from Sacramento are definitely Whiteside and Damian Jones, just the front court really for value I like. And then De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, I have a good amount of interest in as well. But moving on to the Phoenix side, so Phoenix is another team I do have a lot of interest in, just because it is a really good matchup for them against Sacramento. And normally, I've kind of been saying it these last few videos, I haven't really been rostering anyone from Phoenix. I can't tell you the last time I played anyone on the Suns team. But they're a team I do have interest in today, and it's mainly just the big three, Booker, Paul, and Ayton. I'm probably not considering anyone else outside of those three. And I would say that Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton are definitely my two favorites. Chris Paul at 7,900, I do like quite a bit here in a good matchup against Sacramento in a big-time pace-up spot. I mean, we know this is probably one of the best matchups you can get at this point against the Kings. They play super fast. They've been really bad defensively. Chris Paul, definitely been hurt by blowouts recently. We've seen his minutes limited. Only played 26 minutes against Miami because of a blowout. Only played 25 against Washington because of a blowout. But we know he's got, likely to play probably 32, 34 minutes here if this game stays close. We've seen even sometimes Chris Paul get like 35, 36 minutes. As long as this game can stay close and we do get 30s, mid-30s minutes from Chris Paul, this is a guy that still has a ton of upside for fantasy. We've seen him, put up triple doubles at times this season. He's someone that can still stuff the stat sheet. I do like Chris Paul quite a bit here at 7,900, and normally he's a guy that I do prefer over Devin Booker just because Paul isn't as scoring dependent as Booker, whereas Booker, needs to really knock down his shots to hit that ceiling. Chris Paul, on the other hand, can contribute with the peripherals, can get rebounds, can get assists, can just, do a little bit of everything. I do like him a lot today at 7,900 on DK, and I have a good amount of interest in him on Yahoo as well, coming in at $32. I think he looks like, one of the better point guard options on this short slate. And then DeAndre Ayton I like quite a bit too. I think he's, up there as one of my favorite center plays, with the Sacramento value guys that I do like as well. We've been getting consistent minutes from DeAndre Ayton, which is something we weren't seeing before like a month ago. Ayton was only playing like low 20s minutes a game, but he's back to getting, 30 plus minutes a night. On the same thing with him as it is with Paul. He's had his minutes limited lately because of blowouts, but we've seen in close games 32, 41, 33 minutes from Ayton, 32 minutes. He's going to get probably 32, 34 minutes here if this game does stay close. Fantastic matchup against the Kings, as I said earlier. Great spot here for Ayton. I do like him a lot at 69 or 6,700. We know Ayton's a very productive player when he's on the floor, and now that he's consistently getting 30 plus minutes a night, he's someone I do have a lot of interest in at 6,700. Haven't been as interested in Ayton these last few slates, but this is obviously a different day. Shorter slate, only 4 games, and it's a great matchup against Sacramento. So I like him a lot at center, along with Hassan Whiteside. I think you can definitely play both the centers in this game. Whether you want to go to Whiteside or Damian Jones, I like both guys, and I definitely like Ayton as well. Overall, this is definitely my favorite game on the slate, though. There's a lot that I do like on both sides. 3-4 guys we mentioned from Sacramento: Whiteside, Jones, Fox, Hield. I like. Then on the Phoenix side, have a lot of interest in Chris Paul, a lot of interest in DeAndre Ayton, and I don't mind Devin Booker either. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for all 4 games today, guys. I appreciate you watching the video as always. If you did enjoy, just hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I go live. Should be live streaming this afternoon, Thursday afternoon for this slate. Should be live around 4:30 Eastern time. So if you guys do want to tune in, check my YouTube channel Thursday afternoon. I'll be live streaming, breaking down the slate with you guys, answering all your questions in chat. But good luck on the slate. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.